Today we will talk about SHX and more connections into FedNow and the ACH payments tie, which is worth about 76.7 trillion per year. So let's just have Sean explain the connections into FedNow, and I will expand more on that.
A heap of really good people around the table in terms of key individual strategic investors that came on over the last 5 years. They really help us when we're trying to work through some of the sticky problems, especially when it comes to banking. You'll notice there's a lot of people here related to the banking world. I mean, the first one on there, Bancorp, a couple of people actually who started that off.
Okay, and then if we go here, I will read more on this. So, part one, how does SHX link into FedNow? Sean explains in there that one of their advisors includes Bancorp, that provides a lot of financial services products and private label partnerships as well. The one I have here is from the Federal Reserve's FedNow liquidity providers list, and who's on there? Bancorp. That's not a coincidence. Sean and
a heap of really good people around
Sean and the overall company are very connected into things like Ripple and XLM. In fact, the CEO, Tammy Camp, was actually an advisor or a VP with XLM, and he worked for each of XRP and XLM in the past, and of course Ripple is an investor in SHX as well. So we have some more from K Engel, who puts out a lot of really good information. So we have an explanation of some of the people that they're involved with. So you've got GLG, let's see, John Goldsmith is involved. You've got 10 out of 10 top banks, 9 out of 10 largest pharmaceuticals, and 9 out of the top 10 technology firms. I think there's a couple more. Top 10 law firms, and 40% of the Fortune 100 are involved with GLG. So that advisor connection into SHX is very, very important, and it just goes to show that this is a very connected company into the financial services and financial institution world. So here's a little bit more about FedNow. That is a direct tie. So you've got NerdWallet is an advisor on FedNow. So in short, FedNow is backed by a Federal Reserve transaction default of 100K up to 500,000 per transaction. The U.S. Treasury is involved and responsible for social security payments and tax refunds as well. That isn't really directly tied in to this, but it does show that this project is tied into the financial institutions that run pretty much everything here in America. So here is your NerdWallet connection to SHX. And if you go to nerdwallet.com, there is an article that explains their ties into FedNow. And it just explains all of those account things there. And those kinds of values are more in line with the ACH end of what SHX is actually trying to do, which is once again worth about 76 trillion. Okay, so here is a tie and a beginning of an explanation more on that ACH involvement here.
We're honored to share that Stronghold has joined NACHA's Payment Innovation Alliance. NACHA is the governing association for the Automated Clearinghouse Network, the largest payment system in the United States and rapidly growing in volume. The Alliance's work is very relevant to us because Stronghold has been building ACH on-ramps for merchants that enable customers to make retail payments directly from their bank accounts. I'm excited to collaborate with some impressive payment industry participants on supporting ACH access and interoperability.
Okay, so who is involved in that? Well, it is all 12 Federal Reserve banks: Visa, IBM, JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, Wells Fargo, and a lot of others as well. So they are becoming more and more connected into the kinds of institutions that run pretty much everything over here. So here is a little bit more of that from Kay Thingol. You have the NACHA members here. So it's essentially all of the Federal Reserve banks. If we scroll through that, you've got payment companies, insurance companies, and then SHX. That is not a coincidence. So then you've got Visa as well. I believe Volante is tied to Ripple as well. Walmart, Wells Fargo. There are a lot of very valuable companies and institutions who move a lot of cash each and every day. So that was kind of the same thing here, except it highlights SHX and the U.S. Department of Treasury, which is, of course, the one involved with things like taxes and stuff. But that just shows that this project and this company is actually trying to do everything right up front so that they don't run into as many regulatory compliance issues as projects like XRP have had. So this is the Venture Funds Rewards program, which revolves around VC investment firms. And I have explained a little on that in the past, but VC firms will earn SHX for every dollar transacted. So here are some of the VCs behind SHX at this point in time. I'm not as familiar with this end of things. I'm not a finance guy, but there are a lot of very large names involved in that. And then you have things like Airbnb, BNB SpaceX, which is interesting because the people behind SHX are also behind XRP and XLM, and they all come out of the PayPal mafia, which ties back to Elon Musk and his company SpaceX. So then you've got Meta and Lyft as well. So there are a lot of very large companies who are trying to figure out how things like SHX can help improve the efficiency of payments. So here's more on the VC end of things, and it calls out a few people in there. You obviously have a lot of important projects at this point, but you've got Render associated as well, which I am huge on that. Solana, which Tammy Camp will explain a tie in a clip I have there. But then you've got SHX right there, and you've got HBAR. So this is all essentially investment options for these VC firms. So so that essentially shows that it shows that SHX has ties into the kinds of people who can make huge impacts on the success of a project. So once again, we've got ties into Ripple, IBM, XLM, Visa as well here. And of course, SHX is ISO 222 protocol compliant. Here's another example of who they are partnered up with and associated with. IBM, Netflix, Visa, JP Morgan, NerdWallet, which we explained, Walmart, and probably at this point, one of the more important ones, as we saw, is Bancorp here. So SHX now has XRP as one of their assets, which makes sense because Ripple is an investor, and it shows that they are tied into FedNow as well. So I have a few more things here. In 2019, I think it's Xspring or it's pronounced Spring, I'm not sure. It is Ripple's investment arm and tech incubator invested into a smart contract player, which has had some price action again, but I'm still not into that at this point in time. But you have ties into SHX with Flare as well. And I had a little bit more on that, but that should be for a different time. But here you have some more ties in between Chris Larson, who is most associated with XRP, and SHX by way of Jason Gardner, who is an investor and an advisor to SHX. And then here is an example of an interesting one. You've got a presentation that was hosted by Amazon Web Services, and you've got Tammy Camp involved, who is the founder and CEO for SHX. And here she is explaining how interconnected and how interoperable SHX actually is.
Shane, are you on, or let's talk a little bit about kind of the back end. We'll get a little geeky with this.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're interoperable. So we first launched on Stellar. No surprise, because that's kind of where we started with IBM, and it is a protocol that's very specific to payments, right? It confirms in 3 to 5 seconds. Like, the transaction fees are tenths of a penny, and the throughput is like 3,000 per second. So it's very similar to how like a Visa would work today. So we first started on that. We also issued a portion of the token on Ethereum. So we have Ethereum. So it's just it's interoperable between the two. And I think that you'll see in the future that we'll go on other protocols that are more similar or more suitable for payments. So you can take your guess on what those things are. There's Solana that's out there today. It's Ripple, and if you kind of investigate what those look like, we're totally open to being on to more, because I think that for us, back to that interoperability, I think that it's you're going to have a lot of different chains for different use cases, and we want to build for that.